Good morning, everybody. This is Danny from Deepsouth Homestead. The heat has hit. We're putting the shade cloth on the greenhouse. We're trying to get it all over it right now. We're taking bungee cords, holding it temporarily in place till we get our rope ran. We've got these eye hooks on the greenhouse here that we've installed. We installed one every 4 foot down the greenhouse. There are one here, one here. They're at every truss pipe over it. So we've got them. We're going to be running rope through this up into the shade cloth and back down through here, zigzagging it. We're trying to get the shade cloth on because it has turned hot. And yes, I have a jacket on this morning because we had one cool morning. And I told Wanda, I said, this is our cool morning. Let's get after it and let's make it happen this morning. It's 46 degrees this morning. The temperature is probably going to get up in the mid 80s. So we're going to try to get this done before the heat gets in here and make it happen so that we can keep our greenhouse in the cool. Alright, y'all probably wonder what we was doing on the other side up high. We have wiggle wire here. The track on these greenhouses are designed where they can hold up to 3 items. And we have plastic, wiggle wire, and we've got our shade cloth, and this wiggle wire is fitting down in there pretty good. So we're actually wiggle wiring the very top of the shade cloth so that the wind doesn't get under the very peak of it and pull it back away from it. We might put some wiggle wire on the ends. We're not sure yet, but we know we want to do the very peak so that we can hold it good and tight up at the peak. And guys, all of this is courtesy of Grower Solutions. That's where we ordered our greenhouse from. They've been very helpful to us. When we have questions like installing the shade cloth, do we take the plastic off and then put the shade cloth on, or do we put the shade cloth on over the plastic? We was able to call them. They was able to walk us through everything. They told us about the wiggle wire and using it in the track and how many pieces of wiggle wire could fit in the track and all that kind of stuff, which was very beneficial. So check out Grower Solutions. They had the shade cloth custom built for us for this greenhouse so that we would it would fit perfect. So we're very excited about that. And guys, check them out. Check out our promo code DEEPSOUTH. You get a 10% discount on a one-time purchase. So if you're interested in purchasing a greenhouse from them, they have multiple sizes, multiple designs. They have trees, they have irrigation systems, they have lots of stuff that you can choose from. Just make sure when you make your purchase, you mention the promo code DEEPSOUTH and get your 10% discount. Okay, we've got one side of the greenhouse done. We've tied our rope into our, this is a nylon rope, so we've tied it into the eye hook, run it up and tied it. Now we're probably going to end up having to zip tie this down right here so that it kind of stays a little bit tight and not buckled out. It's not going to be wrapped around the end just right. We can probably have to come back and put a piece of wiggle wire right here to help hold that in the track. We've got some short pieces of wiggle wire, but we ran it through the grommets and back down through the eye hooks, and we zigzagged it all the way down through there. It's got this side held down. We now that we've finished this side, we've got both ends done with the wiggle wire at the top. It worked out really good. Now there's some secrets to the wiggle wire I learned while I was installing it. You have to make sure the wiggle wire has in a crawling looking motion like this, a wiggle motion. When you install your new wiggle wire, make sure that your arch on it is the opposite from the arch on the other side of the wiggle wire when you stick it down in the track. You'll see when you get up there, you can't put it in the same way the other wiggle wire was. You got to flip it over just the opposite to install it. When you do that, it goes in a lot easier, but it's still not easy. Don't get me wrong. You got two pieces of plastic in there, and then plus you're putting a shade cloth, a wiggle wire, and another wiggle wire. It's a job. You're going to have to work with it, so just be patient, but it will work. Now guys, we're going to move over to the other side now, and we're going to get the rope in that side, and I think we're going to have it. I think it's going to work. There we go. All right, we are now through with the shade cloth. Guys, it really wasn't that big of a deal. We had a little incident in the first about trying to figure it out, but once we got it figured out, we're right over the greenhouse. The good thing about it was I had this one custom made, and buddy, let me tell you, when you have it custom made, it barely reaches. I mean, they only allowed 1 inch on each end, so the company that created this for Grower Solutions did a fantastic job. I was thinking I was going to have all this shade cloth left over on the ends. What I was going to do about my bin openers, were they going to be in the way? No, it worked out really good. We used a wiggle wire track around the ends of it here. We used a nylon rope all the way down the side with the eyelet screwed into the hip board. Worked out good. This is a 40% shade cloth. In our other greenhouse, we tried a 70%, we tried a 50%, both were too much. The 50 was getting close, so we decided with this one, we're gonna go with 40, and I think it's gonna be okay. And guys, I know a lot of y'all are saying, you're putting a shade cloth already on, and it's just the 1st of April. Yeah, we've already had temps in, the heat index is in the mid-90s, so the temperature in the greenhouse was reaching 100 degrees. And speaking to the gentleman up the road that owns this, probably the largest nursery in this part of the country, he told me that at 135 degrees, cell structure on plants begin to erupt. You don't ever want that greenhouse to get that hot. So before we actually come to that point, we're already getting to 100, we decided to go ahead and put the shade cloth on so we can begin to cool it down. Now we have the sides that roll up. They're rolled up. We not really worried about the temperature this morning. It was very cool in there. It was 46 degrees here. We have the automatic window openers on the end up there. We have them set at 80 degrees right now, but probably the closer into the summer I go and it begins to get hotter, I will probably adjust them to open at around 70 or 75 degrees. That way, our nighttime temps don't hardly ever, during the summertime, get below 70 degrees. They usually 75, hover around 70 to 75 degrees. That means that my vents will stay open all the time during the summer. That way, the heat should be constantly getting out, even at night. There should still be a vortex even at night going on in the greenhouse. So now that we have it installed, we're going to go inside, because I haven't even been in there yet. We're going to go in and we're going to look up and we're going to see what it looks like. All right, we're inside here. And you know what? It's not really that dark in here. I was really anticipating it being a lot darker in here. It's not really that dark. I still see plenty of light through it. And guys, our greenhouse is set up kind of southwest and northeast because when a hurricane comes in, they come in, our worst wind comes from the northeast. And we didn't want it hitting against the side of the greenhouse. So we have it against the end down here, the smallest part of the greenhouse. And that puts the sun coming up right here to my left. See how the sun, as it comes in, how filtered it is? That's good, because that was going to be too hot. And as it begins to move across the sky, and it sets in the west over here, what happens whenever that happens is, that means our greenhouse is in the sun all day long. And it will get too hot in here, because this location was chosen just specifically for that reason. In the winter time, the sun will go to the south over here, which means the greenhouse will continually get sun all winter. As the summertime comes on, the sun is going to move to the north. We have the timberline ridge right here that is going to prevent the early morning sun from hitting the greenhouse. It'll probably hit the greenhouse. Let's see, it's 9 o'clock now and the sun is just now hitting the greenhouse. As the summer goes on, the sun probably won't hit the greenhouse until around 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And then it'll be on the greenhouse until about 4:30 in the afternoon. That's the time frame of sun that we were interested in when we were designing and laying the greenhouse out. Because when you put a greenhouse up, you just can't just stick it up just because it fits somewhere. You have to have it laid out based on the movement of the sun to get the optimal growth out of all your plants, both summer and winter. So now that we have the shade cloth on, I look up, I'm very satisfied with it. It looks like it's going to be just the right filter that we need. But of course, to be honest with you, we will know the further into the summer we go. If all of our plants begin to get too tall and too spently looking, we'll know that we chose too dark a color shade cloth, and we'll have to get a even lighter shade cloth. But we've been asked the questions in the past about the wind actually hitting the greenhouse and the shade cloth. Is the wind going to affect it? Well, the shade cloth is actually very porous, so it doesn't really catch the wind that bad. But even though it doesn't catch the wind that bad, we decided to go ahead and use a wiggle wire across the ends anyway, just as a precaution. So guys, I hope that showing you the shade cloth, the greenhouse, and what it looks like and how it's functioning, our reasons for doing the greenhouse the way we done, our reasons for the shade cloth this time of the year and stuff like that. I hope this has been educational and it will help you with your greenhouse. So thank you from Deep South Homestead.